Hey, Jake, can you hear me okay?
I certainly can.
Hey, Jake, thank you for taking the time. How's your day going aside from having to do press?
Oh, well, it's going great. Thanks.
Well, we were connected to talk about Fallen Higher, which you narrate and you're seen being interviewed for. When did they actually finish the film?
Oh, I honestly, I couldn't tell you when they finished the film. I don't know. Um, I suppose recently.
Got it. Yeah, I get that sometimes you film something and then 3 years later it comes out and you go, oh, okay, I forgot about that project. It sounds like those kinds of vibes for this one.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you do any project like that, I mean, you can go back to the time of inception of
Mhm.
a project, and you're looking at, and you can be looking at a decade depending on what the project is. So most of the time, from my end of things, if I work on something um, before digital, it was always 1 year. It was almost 1 year to the date. But now with digital, you don't have film processing times, and so it cuts the time frame by months. So I don't know. Do you know when they were done shooting that thing?
I don't remember.
No, wait. But it's been some time. It's been, I mean, I think I did the interview about a year ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it is a great story that I don't think that people knew, even if they were familiar with the band's discography. How did you first find out about the band?
Well, I first found out about the band. A friend of mine who represents me in managerial capacities uh, asked me if I knew of the band, and also uh, he told me, I'm at his house right now.
Yeah.
He also told me about one of the members in the band had known my dad from way back in the 80s, because my dad is quite the musician. And
Mhm.
after he did a film that catapulted him to stardom that was about Buddy Holly,
Right.
uh, he was able to then use that as an excuse to hop up and jam with anyone and everyone around, at any kind of music venue. Um, and so he did, and I think that's how they knew each other. But I was I'm glad that they asked me to do it, and it was great to meet the guys. And it's one of those stories that is, it's almost unbelievable. It's
Mhm.
like you almost think, are they spoofing me? Is this like Spinal Tap? Like, is this just a fictional movie? And when you find out that these guys, in fact, are the real deal, and if you look at actually, if you look at, I mean, there's a lot of, like, I think Three Dog Night is still touring.
Yes.
And yet it may not be at at the Staples Center or at the Infineon or whatever, but it's that they're still playing like good sized houses, little venues in local, in the suburbs of different cities and stuff. And the same, I mean, I know that all those big bands that used to play arenas you can still catch them at clubs in your part of town, where there's Aerosmith or whomever. I mean, they're Def Leppard. I mean, they're still out there playing. It's really interesting, and these guys have been doing that too. It's just they're I share kind of a I guess a kinship with them, like in a kindred spirit or of such, because I've had a 30-year career, yet
Yeah.
most people don't know who the hell I am, and other than I look like my dad. So I
Yet, if I could,
relate.
stop you from cutting yourself too short there, they've seen your work. They just don't always put together that that's the guy from Starship Troopers, and we've seen him on Jimmy Kimmel Live a trillion times and all that. They don't necessarily connect all the dots, but it's no different than being, a relief pitcher in the majors for 22 years that
Right,
was always on the team.
right. Always on the team, always there, always playing, but not necessarily the brightest number one, main act. But it's all good. Like, we do what we do because we enjoy doing it. And art is a process, and it's all about the journey. And life is not a race, because
Yeah.
you get to the end and it's over. So you don't want to get to the end too quick.
Well, another analogy or comparison is when the movie The Wrestler came out with Mickey Rourke, and it was found out that Springsteen was doing the theme song to that. They would go like, what does Bruce Springsteen have to do with wrestling? And when you think about it, at the end of the day, it's the touring lifestyle. It's playing to different people every night, performing something that has nothing to do with who you are when you're not performing. It's playing a character. So I'm sure there's other professions that you can relate to besides musicians as well.
Well, absolutely. I mean, immediately I wanted to say any of the performing arts, but an interesting thing, my father, now this is not my quote, but my dad has been quoted as saying many occasions that there was once a psychological study done that evaluated the stress levels of different professions. And as rumor has it, as dad's tale goes, the stress levels of an actor and a fighter pilot are apparently on par. Now, I would imagine that a fighter pilot's stress levels might be a little higher, considering you're flying at a few times the speed of sound and potentially going to get killed, and if you mess up, you die. But I do understand the stress level thing. It's because being an actor, you're never secure with your employment. You're always stressing about, am I going to work again? And then do I look okay? If I go to the grocery store dressed like this, am I going to get attacked by the press? And am I going to get hounded for 2 years about the hat that I wore? And so there's a stress level, but I in my opinion, it's a different type of stress. But I think all performing arts have some sort of high pressure cooker type of stress. I mean, it's definitely it's an interesting feeling. It's like, I would equate it like the whole red carpet thing. Like when you show up at a thing and there's like 1 million photographers and everyone's screaming your name. I think most people would assume that is like exciting and wow, isn't this cool? But there's a high level of, oh shit, everyone's looking at me. I better not fuck up. So that is a very high anxiety moment, but it's exciting too. It's exciting too. And I think your personality type really plays a big role in it too. It's like, I once had somebody told me that they met David Lee Roth and they couldn't believe what a self-centered jerk that he was. And my first thought was, well, you idiot. He wouldn't be David Lee Roth if he wasn't that way, because you need that type A, narcissistic, check me out, I've got a void that needs to be filled personality. That's what's going to propel you to the front of a stage to jump off of a 10-foot riser wearing spandex pants.
You just, to cut you off, made history. This is the first time in thousands of interviews where the person brought up David Lee Roth and I didn't. I'm writing a book about Roth right now.
Oh, that's great.
What you do is you shoehorn the question, go, so by the way, were you a Van Halen fan? And then that happens. But in the case, you brought up Roth, so thank you for that, Jay.
You got it. Anytime.
So, of course, Fallen Higher, the world can now see it through on demand and digital, and I'm sure it's going to be coming to DVD and whatnot in the very near future. But what's next for you? Are you allowed to say where we can see you next?
Oh, where can you see me next? I have a film that is touring worldwide film festivals right now, and it's winning all kinds of awards. It just won Best Picture in Italy, but not like regular Best Picture. It's touring film festivals, and it's winning at these small film, like they're like scary movie film festivals. And we won something in Best Picture, I think in Australia, and something in Chile. And the movie is a true story about Canada's only serial killer who used to go trolling for prostitutes. This is like in the 1970s, 1980s. I think he was caught in the 80s, but I think he's got an uncountable amount of victims. But what he was doing is he was going to the bad part of town, picking up prostitutes. He would throw parties at his ranch, and he would invite like all the ne'er-do-wells from the local pubs and stuff to come back to his big, and he would like have like a 1980s or 70s version of a rave on his big pig farm. And he would have his way with these prostitutes. And he also lured them all to his house, to his ranch, with the promise of drugs. But then he would kill them, and then he would feed them to his pigs. And it's a true story. The film's called The Pig Killer. So I would imagine soon it'll be coming to a streaming platform near you. Not to hijack this whole Zoom thing with what I got going next, but that's an interesting thing. I've never done a little low budget movie that has had so much traction worldwide. It's very interesting.
It's playing to like the slam dances of the world. That's what it sounds like.
It kind of, yeah, it kind of has that kind of jam. I finished a little Christmas movie up in Pennsylvania. It's called the Gettysburg Christmas, and they're still shooting right now. That'll be next Christmas. And that'll be probably on, Hallmark or Lifetime, one of those family channels the Christmas movies are on. And I play a bartender in that one. Those
That doesn't speak to diversity, where you have a horror film about prostitutes being killed, the Hallmark movie, and a music documentary. Jake, you're making dreams happen.
Well, I'm doing what I can do to survive, and I'm enjoying it.
Well, thank you for your time, and I'm looking forward to whatever is coming next, no matter the genre from you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Great to talk to you. And, let's hear it for Ampage. Hoorah!
Paltrocast.